Hi guys, Dan Ward here from Ochiko Bushcraft. Well, since I've started this YouTube channel, I've had a few people asking me about the belt I wear. They're asking me questions about what kind of gear I carry on my belt and what exactly this belt is and why I wear it. So I thought I'd take the time today to answer a few questions. Before that, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been in the military in the past or is presently serving. I want to thank you guys for your service, and I want you to know that for all of you who have served, and many have been missing in action, some POWs were never found. It's like the shirt says, guys, you are not forgotten. And again, from Ochiko Bushcraft, thank you to every one of you for your service. So guys, what I have here is what I call a bushcraft belt. It has on it tools that are essential to daily activities that I do when I'm out in the woods. I've hiked into a location where I plan to build shelter and camp out. Right down here is a little stream, and there's plenty of materials around here for shelter building, fire, project making, whatever I want to do. So I've carried in my backpack. I've got my backpack sitting over here. Other than my backpack, the only thing I have with me is the tools on my belt. So obviously, I don't want to carry my heavy pack around with me when I'm out gathering materials for a shelter, firewood, and whatever projects I've decided to do. At the same time, I want to have essential tools close at hand. You know, if I need to saw a couple poles, I have with me the Baco folding saw, which is my personal favorite folding saw. That's right there on my side. I want to cut some poles, bring them back. I need to delimb a pole. I need to delimb a branch. I have my Becker BK9. I've also used the back of this for hammering in stakes into the ground with no complaints whatsoever. For carving, setting snares, doing fine work, making notches, I have my little Mora Garberg. Emergency fire making, maybe I wander a little bit farther than camp than I had planned. I've got a couple items. I have a small Altoids tin, and in that Altoids tin I have fat wood, a mini Bic lighter, and a little wet fire tinder fire starter. Okay, over here on this side, another fire starter. I always have my Strike Force, which also has a place for tinder inside of the handle. And I really have come to like this thing. It puts out a lot of sparks. And lastly, hanging off of the back of my Big Becker BK9 is an extra 30 feet of parachute cord on a small carabiner. So let me go into a little more detail for you guys who are looking to put together your own bushcraft belt. The belt itself is a 2-inch wide leather belt from Hank's Belts. You can find them on Amazon. This one is their concealed carried weapons belt called the Marshall. It's a very stiff, heavy leather belt, which I really like, with a double prong buckle. As far as the sheaths and pouches go, everything that's on this belt is custom made by a local leather shop here in Central Oregon called Shasta Leatherworks. If you guys are interested, contact me. I can put you in touch with Shasta Leatherworks, or I myself sell some of these sheaths that I've had custom designed to fit specific knives. So with that in mind, let me tell you, I do not like traditional knife sheaths. I find that a traditional sheath rides too high on the belt, When I bend over, it jams up into my ribs, which is very uncomfortable. The other thing, even if it's a low riding sheath, they're usually firm on the belt, strapped down to the leg. You go to sit down, they kind of bind up, still uncomfortable. So for my personal preference, I have had all of my sheaths put on danglers. Okay, and just like I was showing in another video, that means I don't have to take the knife over to the sheath. I take the sheath and turn it whatever direction I want, upside down, sideways, to get my tools. Also, it flops right out of the way when I get in and out of the pickup, you know, or when I sit down on the ground. It's always out of my way. Same with these. I had a sheath custom designed for my new Mora Garberg. It's on a dangler. It's very handy, move it out of the way. And a little leather sheath for my Baco folding saw. In addition, this pouch for the Altoids tin, custom made at Shasta Leatherworks, and the little leather pouch for my fire starter. So guys, let me show you a couple reasons why I carry some of the tools. Fire starting, obvious. If you need a fire, I'm out a little farther away from camp than I'd planned on going. I catch a chill, maybe I decide to stop and have a break. My hands get cold, whatever. I've got fat wood, I've got tinder, I've got a lighter, I've got something to make sparks with. I'm gonna get a fire going, I'm gonna get my hands warm, whatever I need. The big knife, okay? No handyman carries one screwdriver on his belt. He carries multiple screwdrivers for multiple tasks. And that's the same way it should be with a knife. You should not be trying to use a small knife for big tasks. It's just way too much work. And if you start using a big knife to do a whole bunch of little fine carving, again, you've just created a bunch of extra work for yourself that you really don't need. Added note on this Becker, the Becker BK9 comes with black plastic handles. I do not like them. They slip in your hands. I've ordered micarta handles, customized them myself to a color that I would like, and now I have a really, really firm grip. So I brought a pole back to camp. I'm going to use this pole for part of my shelter. But it's got all these branches on it that are in the way. I can mess around with a little knife, or I can use my big knife. And the thing about the big knife is it's quick, it's easy. Now I have a pole that quick. I could have a whole stack of these laying here that need to be delimbed for some type of a shelter, or maybe I'm lashing together a tripod. I don't need to mess around with a little knife. I got a big knife for big jobs. And again, like I said before, I've also used the back of it to hammer stakes into the ground with no problem. And guys, I just want to mention this. I have to throw a shout out to the guys at K-Bar Becker about this knife. I started buying big knives over 20 years ago. I bought one of the very first Bussy Battle Mistresses. I think I only used it twice, chopping some limbs off trees. I know Bussy claims to have these bulletproof knives, but I've still got the knife, and it's got two big chips in the blade where the blade chipped from chopping branches. I've used the Tops Armageddon. I've used the Cold Steel Trailmaster. Personal preference, guys, I have never used a big knife that chops better and stays sharper than the Becker BK9. And absolutely amazing thing about this knife is I can actually use it to do some decent carving with, which my other big knives, no. So that's my reason for having a big knife. It makes big jobs quick and easy. Small knife, same thing. Small knife is for small tasks. I want to carve a stake. I want to use it as a tie down. I'm gonna put my tarp up. I need to have a stake or a couple stakes to tie down with. So This is called a bullet point. It's kind of short and fat, but your longer, skinnier points, when you're hammering them in the ground, if the ground's hard, they tend to break. So a short, fat bullet point like that will pound into the ground nicely without breaking. And if I'm gonna make a stake to tie something off with, I'm gonna make a 7-notch. Some refer to it as a stake notch. Again, this is why I have my little knife. This Gerber Garberg, I'm sorry guys, not Gerber, I apologize. This Mora Garberg carves better than any knife I have ever used. I'm really blown away by how easy it carves and how well it retains its edge. It seems to stay shaving sharp all of the time. So anyway, I want to make a couple stakes, tie some cordage around them, put up my tarp. There you go, that easy. And that is why I have a small knife for carving and a big knife for bigger tasks such as chopping. And of course the saw, you know, it's a lot of work. You start chopping down a bunch of poles, maybe some dead trees, whatever you're going to use for your shelter, fire, other projects. It's a lot of work. The saw, quick and easy. And with that in mind, guys, I want to show you a little trick. I learned this from Mike Lumio up at Bushcraft Northwest. Check out his videos. But he showed me this little trick on how to split wood. Basically, I've already sawn, but I'm going to show you what I did. You take your saw and you have, you know, a bunch of pieces of dry firewood around, and you saw halfway through a piece of wood like that. Okay? Then all you got to do, turn this over so that your sawn side is down. And I'm gonna smack it on a rock down here. Smack it on something hard. Smack it on a log. Smack it on a rock. Okay, I know you guys probably won't be able to see me, but I'll bring it right back up. Okay, I smacked it, and bam, I just split my wood. So I can have a whole stack of wood here. Just make a little cut in the ends. Smack them on something hard, and see, there's where it was. Smacked it right here, and a nice even split. Look at that. Split wood for the fire kindling. Just an easy way, easy little trick. So guys, that's pretty much it. That is my Bushcraft belt in a nutshell. Before I go, I'll kind of show you the area a little bit that I've picked for a campsite. As I said, I walked in with my backpack, my food, my water, my tools are all here. I've got a small one-man tent called the Ionosphere from Snug Pack. Everything's here. My tools are on my belt. There's shelter material all around here, trees, branches, great firewood, great resources. Now right down here, guys, I got a small little stream flowing. There's a few little fishing holes in it that have a few small trout in it, so I may try to see if I can't catch me one of those little trout out of one of those holes later and actually have some trout for dinner. Got a game trail running right here next to the stream if I wanted to try for a rabbit or a squirrel. It's just a great place to camp out, great place to practice some skills, great place to use my tools and enjoy myself, enjoy nature for a couple days. So guys, Dan Ward, Ochiko Bushcraft, thanks again for tuning in. Enjoy yourself out there in the back country and stay safe.